I've been a full-time woodworker for over 10 years, and along the way, I've learned a ton. This video is my top 10 business lessons of all time across every one of my YouTube videos. I hope you enjoy.
Tip number 10, keep your overhead low.
Everything you see behind me looks all well and great. The industrial shop is all well and great, but I will tell you firsthand that this is so much more stressful than when I was just at my parents' horse barn. Like, I was still paying rent over there, still paying taxes, still doing all the due diligence that you normally should, but it costs so much less because all of this stuff that you see is really, really expensive. The taxes on it are expensive. The insurance is expensive. All of the utilities I have to pay for it is very, very expensive. So if you're in your garage and you want to start this business, stay there as long as you possibly can. I made my highest profit margin ever when I was at my parents' house. And so if you're starting a business and you're thinking you look tacky because you're in your garage or you're in your apartment in this little basement, right? Like, we did $1 million in sales out of a horse barn. You can do it too. Do not try to go big, right? If you go big, like the saying is, go big or go home. Don't go big, just go home and stay there as long as you possibly can, because I can't stress this enough. It is so stressful trying to cover all of this on a daily basis. Now, I was built for this stuff, so I absolutely love it, but I know a ton of people that it's very hard to handle growth and this giant amount of overhead. So just keep it low, don't go big, stay small as long as you possibly can, and just let the profits roll in.
Tip number 9, don't worry about copycats.
Do not worry about copycats. I've met with some of the people that have stole my product listings because I've been on Etsy for 9 years now, and I've had hundreds and hundreds of shops steal my listings. And the issue with copycats is they're always one step behind you, and they're typically freaking lazy. And so by you constantly wanting to improve and make a better product and treat your customers right, and you working your ass off, somebody that buys something from overseas and imports it in, or is just lazy and just trying to copy you, they're not gonna beat you because you're continuously improving and they're not. That's why they're copying you. And so do not be afraid of expressing your idea to the world and really showing it off. Now, they're gonna copy it whether you're on Etsy, TikTok, your website, Amazon, it doesn't matter. Newsflash, there is lazy people everywhere that like to lie, cheat, and steal. So do not worry about these guys. They're gonna come anyways. You just need to focus on what you can control, work your ass off, make a better product, treat your customers right, and build your brand so no matter who copies you, you are still the best because they cannot beat you because they are lazy and they lie, cheat, and steal, and I do believe in bad karma.
Point number 8, photography.
Good photos are literally everything, and I underline it for emphasis, because if you don't have good photos, you can't sell a product. A bad product with good photos will sell a hell of a lot more than a good product with bad photos, hands down, day after day. So one of the mistakes that I see people make is they don't really highlight what they're selling. And I see this a lot on stovetop covers. It's like, what are you selling? Are you selling the board? Or are you selling all the decorations on top of the board? Oh my gosh, my handwriting. Or are you selling all the decorations on top of the board, right? Are you selling that bowl of peaches, or are you actually selling the board itself? So be sure whenever you're taking photos, what are you highlighting and what are you showing emphasis toward, right? Do you want to sell the best bowl of peaches in the world, or do you actually want to show off the grain and the size of your board and how amazing it is? So stovetop covers is just an example, but guys, I see this time and time again. The next one is gonna be bad lighting. So I'm gonna flip off the lights real quick to show you the difference between bad lighting and good lighting. So this right here is an example of bad lighting. So it looks like crap, right? I went from a 10, or my wife would say I'm a 10, to like a 3, and my wife still probably would think I'm pretty. But I don't look good. So make sure you have proper lighting. And let's flip the lights back on, and now I look good because we have proper lighting. So make sure that you have good lighting. Boop. And good spelling. Okay, the next mistake I see people do is not taking time on their photos. Photos should take a lot of time, right? You should probably spend 40 hours on a photo session for a product. And you may be like, that is crazy. But like, from setting up proper lighting, taking good photos, and editing a whole like listing and doing it the right way, it's gonna take you maybe not 40 hours, but at least 20 hours to do that. And I will tell you hands down, I hate doing it, but I know it's one of the most important things that can make or break my Etsy shop and my listings, and so I have to do a really, really good job on it. The next thing is you want to take them on a journey. So you don't just want the same picture, right? Straight up, straight up, straight up, one angle shot. You want to take the customer on a journey, okay? So they see it, they see the hero image, which is the first image, and they see it, and the next one is maybe somebody holding it, because then they picture themselves holding it. And then is a detail shot, and so they can see the grain of the wood, and they're like, man, that's nice. And then they get to see an over-the-top view and kind of picture it on their stove. And then they get to see the personalization options. So you want to understand what that customer is going through and get in that customer's shoes and go through that photo journey that they're going through whenever they click on your listing, and that's going to help increase conversion rate, which is going to increase sales. And the next thing I always like to do, if your product is small enough, I love taking white background photos, because nowadays with modern technology, you can put it on different backgrounds and do different things. And so I want to show you a quick setup that I have used on all of my products. And this setup right here has literally done over $5 million in product sales. So let me show you. All right, so this is my super sophisticated setup right here. So I have my 2 poster boards. I taped one up on the wall. I have 2 lanterns right here, or lamps. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a picture of this hat right here. And so the lamps allow me to adjust the light, just like this. I now have a pretty good backsplash. I'm gonna take this Cutting It Close Academy exclusive hat, and I'm just gonna take the picture off my phone. And so I'm gonna go back, edit this on a really cheap software called Be Funky, and I'm gonna flash up that edit real quick to show you what that photo just turned into. It turned into a beautiful white background photo, and I can easily crop it because that computer software knows exactly where the hat ends and where the white background begins. And so this is my photo setup that I've used time and time again and costs like 10 bucks at Walmart. So this stuff is not complicated. You just need to take that customer on a journey, do proper lighting, and really focus on what you're selling and not focus on what you're not selling.
Number 7, cut out non-value added activities.
We're perfectionists by nature. All woodworkers that I've known are perfectionists by nature, and we want to do everything right, and we study wood, and we know all the techniques, and we know all the joinery, and we know how to finish products. But a lot of times adding that value, the customer does not care, and it just jacks up the price. So take, for instance, this little tiny paddle right here. I'm not gonna sand this with 400 grit. I'm not gonna put tung oil finish on it. Why? Because our customers do not care about that. So what I did in my business, I catered to the 95% of customers that do not care about the smell or the exact finish that you put on there, and that's kind of my market I went to. Now, if you're going to a market where customers absolutely have to have burly walnut with this nice oil finish on it and a shellac coating and all that fancy stuff, go to that and understand what your customers are looking for. But it took me a long time to understand that not all the customers understand wood, they don't understand wood terminology, and they just want something that's smooth and has a little bit of weight to it and looks pretty. So now when I mixed it for myself, I do all those things I care about because I'm the customer, but all my other customers, they just want it fast, they want a nice product, they want it smooth, and they want a little bit of weight to it. And that's what I've learned.
Tip number 6, not charging enough and having bad margins.
Give you examples of what healthy margins can do, and just know that all of this shop could not have been built if I was having to do all these complex formulas just to make a product work, right? This shop was built on healthy margins. And so if you want to either make some money with your side hustle or grow a CNC business, I encourage you to start thinking about that. And you can't have great people here like Jose working for you. Say hi, Jose. You can't have great people here working for you. You can't have all of that if you have razor thin margins, right? And you can't have these cool machines. And let's just say, once again, you want to do that side hustle, it will kill your passion if you're not making money from it. So when I talk about healthy margins, I want you to have 40 to 50% margins on your product, right? And so in other words, if you make something for $1, you need to sell it for $2. What that's going to allow you to do is weather the slow times. Like my first year was COVID. My first year of after college was COVID year, so it was awful. It helps you weather the slow times. You don't have to stress about having a tiny piece of scrap like this and not knowing what to do with it. It allows you to grow your business so you can still continue to love what you do, continue growing it, having employees, and doing the things you love to do. Now you may be saying like, Ryan, there's no freaking way I can charge that much and just have this hobby CNC, or I just have this small shop, I can only make $5 a product. The problem with that thinking is you're assuming there's not a lot of fish in the sea. A good example is you have 2 oranges and you squeeze one, you get no juice out of it. You squeeze the other, you get tons of juice. And you know the saying goes, if the juice ain't worth the squeeze, then don't do it. The same goes for products. If you have a product that you have to do all these complex formulas, like I said, to make it work, and the razor thin margins allow you to just barely get by, when you get really busy and scale up, you're still only gonna barely get by. It doesn't like keep going. And so now you're working your tail off for absolutely nothing because you never charged enough in the first place because you picked the wrong dang orange. So pick the juicy orange that makes it work. There's a ton of wood products that you can choose from, so I encourage you to do a lot of research in that and actually charge enough.
Tip number 5, work ethic.
A very simple one, but let me explain what I mean by work ethic. If you're not working 60 hours a week, you will fail when starting a wood business, right? I'm still working 80 to 100 hours a week now, 10 years later, even though I'm only 26. So I have a lot of time on my hands. I don't have a family, don't have kids yet. I am getting married soon, so that's pretty cool. But with that being said, I'm still working 80 to 100 hours a week, even though I have 22 employees and a bigger shop. I still have a lot of ambition, a lot of goals, and so I'm still putting in the work so I can grow this business. And if you're just starting out and you're competing with somebody like me or another person in the wood industry that's still working hard, which most of them are because it's a very competitive industry, if you're only working 40 hours a week, you're going to get stomped. There's no possible way you're going to win. If you're working 60 hours a week, I would say that's about average. You need to be about 80 hours a week. And when you're working, you're actually working. You're not messing around to be able to make it in the wood industry. Okay? And if you're watching this far, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel because we will be growing this channel and it will be the #1 woodworking channel on YouTube. Very excited about that. We are very small right now, but I am just getting started and there's a lot to come.
Number 4, not understanding what the customer's willing to pay for.
Now, what I mean by this is behind me, you have this book-matched Texas pecan dining room tabletop that I'm making for somebody right now. It's gonna be beautiful, it's gonna be awesome. We got epoxy pour, it's 3 different pieces that are book-matched. It's absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. And then you have this cedar box right here that's rustic and is made with just some finish nails and stuff like that, laser engraved, okay? Now, what I mean by not knowing what they're willing to pay for and not willing to pay for. Most woodworkers in the woodworking industry, when you're just starting out or getting your business going, you want to do everything perfect, and sometimes the customer doesn't want perfect, they want just good enough, right? Like this box right here, I do not have to make it out of pecan because they do not want it out of pecan. They don't want it out of maple. They want it out of cedar because they're not willing to pay for making that out of maple or something like that, something of that nature, right? They don't want me to fill up the gaps with epoxy versus this customer right here is willing to pay for all this, and I understood that going into the project. Now, you may be this is kind of hard. Your ego has to be put to the side a lot of times in the woodworking field because you're really good, most likely, and you want to build stuff like the most perfect way, right? Like you care if this thing you're making is 2 inches thick or 1 inch thick or it's made with 3/4 inch plywood, but the customer probably doesn't care. Maybe they don't even see it. Maybe it's just because you're like, yeah, that's me, baby. That's what I do. That's my ego getting in the way. But if the customer's not willing to pay for it, it's either eating out of your pocketbook or it's just eating out of your pocketbook, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So what I would say about that is understand what the customer wants. If the customer wants a nice cedar box, make them a nice cedar box. Don't do anything over. Don't overkill it. Now, if you're trying to impress them and they're a giant client, then you can overkill it, but you can't do that for very long. If the customer wants a nice pecan table and they're willing to pay for it and they're willing to pay for a hand-rubbed oil finish because that's what they want and you talk to the customer and you understand what they want, then do that. But don't assume that the customer cares as much as you do because you will be wrong 99% of the time. Be sure to talk with the customer, understand what they want, understand what they do not care about, and it's going to help you price your products better, it's going to help you make your products better, and it's going to help you make more money and not fail.
Tip number 3, you have to treat it like a business.
So to me, woodworking is one of the most competitive businesses to be a part of and the most competitive industries to be a part of, the wood industry. Why? Because a lot of times the barrier to entry is so low. I mean, a lot of people, and I'm talking about like making cabinets and different products and stuff like that, like smaller products. I'm not talking about making paper or owning a sawmill or making crown molding or something like that. But more or less, most people in their lives know somebody that knows how to work with wood or knows how to fix stuff. I mean, I can take $1,000 right now or $500, go to Home Depot and start my own wood company. You can't do that you can't do that in any other industry, right? So the barrier to entry is so low in the woodworking industry. If you don't treat it like a business, you're gonna fail because there's so much competition in it. But the rewarding part of the woodworking industry that I love is that it's humbling, it's good work, you're working with your hands, not a lot of people do it anymore. And so you feel good about yourself at the end of the day that you're doing something, you're making a product that has value, that improves people's lives, right? And I'm assuming you're making a product that has value, that does improve people's lives, and you're not scamming people, because you will eventually fail if you do that. Now, once again, if you do not treat it like a real business and you have this timeline where you want to get rich quick, you are going to fail in the wood industry. I've been doing this 10 years, and at year number 8, I was finally able to afford a rip saw, and at year number 10, I was finally able to afford a double-sided planer. It was my dream, but I've been pursuing that for 10 years. I still have another 30 years in this industry, 40 years in this industry I want to be a part of. So however long it takes me to get to my end result, I'm okay because I'm treating it like a business, and I have this really long timeline.
Tip number 2 is sales versus efficiency.
So when I was in my parents' horse barn, you ever watch the show Sanford and Son? There's like stuff everywhere and you have a little trail you walk through there. That's how that shop was. But that shop did over $1 million a year in sales. Now, I thought I needed to be and have the most efficient process as possible, but once I got to this shop, I learned that efficiency does not matter if the machine does not run and if people are not employed. Which one would you rather have? 100% sales and really bad efficiency? Or would you rather have amazing efficiency and no sales? You would probably rather have the money coming in and you can figure out the efficiency. This is something I learned very recently, that sales is probably the #1 most important thing to grow your business. It's not how efficient your business runs, though that is very closely in number 2. The sales side is very hard to fix, but efficiency can be fixed because you get somebody in here that knows the lean methodology, that knows the Toyota way, that knows all of that stuff, and he can make your shop extremely efficient, no problem. Very hard to find people that can come in here and just rank up your sales when you have an efficient shop, if that makes sense. It's a little confusing, just telling you from personal experience. My shop and my parents' horse barn, it was clustery, it was disgusting, but we did over $1 million a year there, shipping out of my parents' bedroom and their living room, and there was horses walking through our barn, but we were still doing just an enormous amount of product because we had the sales. Not very efficient, but we did have the sales. Tip number 1. This tip is by far, bar none, the most important thing. If you get nothing else from this video, just follow this one tip, and that is just pick one product or one product line. I cannot stress this enough. A CNC can do so many things. It can do 3D carves, you can put a lathe on it, you can cut, nest, all kinds of crazy stuff. Just pick one thing that it's gonna do really well. This whole entire shop right here was built off of just 3 products. The first product was a docking station, and I did millions of dollars in sales with that over years, and I thought it was a coincidence, and maybe I just got lucky, and so I focused on another product and another product for the last couple years, and those have also done millions of dollars in sales. So this CNC right here behind me literally cuts this panel and this panel, the same exact panel that you can get on CSE Workshop, we literally cut on this giant machine every day. So this really cool machine only cuts the same stuff that we cut on that machine and the same stuff that we cut on our smaller machines. It just does it more quickly. We focused on one product, and I guarantee you we can cut out the product we cut out better than anybody else, because that's the only thing we do. All our jigs are made like that. All of our focus is that. My marketing is that. My branding is that. Our company is known for the specific product lines that we make. So if you are into, awards, right? Only do awards. If you're into gym stuff, right? Make gym equipment, make, deadlift rugs, whatever. Like, only do that. Because the products that we do and we cut out with this machine, I guarantee you nobody can make them better, because that's what my sanders know, that's what my machine knows, that's how our marketing goes. We know how to take perfect photography of them. So just stick with one product when starting off. I cannot stress this enough. It is the most important thing that I'm really trying to get across. So guys, I hope this video helps. Appreciate you watching so much. And as always, guys, remember, if you ain't cutting it close, you ain't cutting it right.